Now, the next most interesting question that I usually, and I think most interviewers would love to ask, is something about the place you come from. And that place could be your city, your town, your state, your region, your country. It's country here. See, these questions basically are asked out of curiosity. When I see someone, usually the best way to strike a conversation with that person is to ask him something about the place he comes from, right? So we all are curious to know the city which you come from and what is unique about that city, what is so special about that city, about that town, right? So usually you should expect and you should be well prepared on such questions, because here it says the interviewers always like to know about your city, town, and state, even your country if you're from some outside country. Can there be a better way of striking a conversation than by asking questions about your city and state? I mean, imagine you meet a stranger while traveling, and before you get into his personal life, you would like to know about the place, the city, the kind of business he is in, the kind of background he has come from, right? So we all, and that is a very formal and a nice way of getting into the personal side of a human being, right? Just as every human being is unique, so every place and region is geographically and culturally unique. We know this, right? So if someone comes from a place, town A, and someone comes from town B, it is definitely possible that both the towns have unique characteristics and features. And by describing those things, it's all about telling a very good story. Please understand. In an interview, you are not just answering the questions, but through those questions and answers, you are actually displaying your command on the language, your understanding about your own self, about the place that you come from. So basically, you should be a very very good storyteller, and no, and you cannot have a good story without having good knowledge content, right? Without good preparation. So, not knowing much about oneself or about the place one comes from shows that one is indifferent, unsocial, and unsympathetic person. Least bothered about the world around him. Imagine that if some of you is from a place like, Guwahati, and the interviewer has not been to Guwahati. The very first question he would ask you is, "Tell me something about Guwahati," or "Tell me something about Srinagar or Chandigarh. Tell me something about Ajmer. Have you been to this place? And what is the specialty about that place?" So by giving good answers to these questions, you are actually sending the signal that yes, you are a person who has good knowledge about things, particularly about your city, town, state, region. We all are curious to know that yes, you are, for example, someone is from the state of Kerala. Then I might ask the question, why do we call Kerala to be God's as God's own country? Why do we call it as God's own country? What is so special about it? So by giving a very good answer to a question, you can actually impress the panelists, right? Similarly, when someone asks you that, okay, you are from a very beautiful city, so what is so special about your city, or what is the special cuisine about your city? Can you know some of the great people who have come from your city, right? So it could be from anything and anywhere. I mean, but then here again, what I'm mentioning is always be good with statistics, right? So I might ask you, okay, so what is the population of your town? I mean, how many people are there? And you might say, okay, but not knowing the answers to these questions would create a bad impression. I have seen people who come from different states, but when you ask them what is the capital of your state, they don't know, and that would leave a very very poor impression. Why? Because that shows that you are not aware about things around you. So please understand that you should be very, very good with statistics about your own city, town, state, country, as to what exactly is the capital, who is the governor, who is the chief minister, so on and so forth. Because again, these are some of the most likely questions in the interview. Right. The next question says, the pointer says that the contemporary issues that are affecting your region. Now, it's quite possible that you come from a very sensitive region, politically very sensitive region, and the interviewers want some perspective of a person who has been there since a long, long time. So, for example, if there is a kind of political turmoil in a particular state, and you come from that state, and that political turmoil is the burning issue, then the interviewer might ask you, "Oh, so you are from this place or this city? What is going wrong in your city? I mean, why is your city or your town in the news these days? What is wrong?" So they would like to know your opinion about the contemporary issues that is affecting your region. So for example, if you're from West Bengal and the election results have just come out, or the elections have just happened, they might ask you, so what do you think about the elections in Bengal? Did you vote? Do you like to vote? What is your interest in politics? What is your opinion about the kind of things that the current government has done? Would you again vote for that government? What is your criteria of a good of basically evaluating a person's candidature for member of parliament or member of legislative assembly? So basically what I'm telling here is that you do not know everything and anything about your town or city, but something is required, and that something could be, let's say, the statistics or at least the contemporary issues. I don't say that you go and start reading the history about your place and about your state, but yes, what is contemporary affecting your state? For example, it's quite possible that you are coming from a town and that town is known for something, or I might ask you out of curiosity. So, what is the uniqueness of your town? Why does your town have that name? What is special about that name? Right, something like this. So again, these the questions that we are discussing is basically that firstly you should know about yourself. I mean, you should have a very good answer when they ask you, tell me something about yourself. And secondly, when they ask you that, tell me something about yourself, which is not there in the CV, you should have a very good answer for that. And it is quite likely that they would like to know about your city, town, state, region, country, and through this you can show your general knowledge about things around you, and you have a very very good chance of impressing, right? Again, in the final paragraph here it's mentioned, you may be forgiven for not knowing the history and geography of your region, but you would never be forgiven for not knowing or not being familiar with the contemporary issues. That means basically you are indifferent. You just don't know that your town or state or region is in the news for these things, and you're not even aware of it. And that is a very that would create a very poor impression. So again, if you during your preparation for the interview, you must keep an eye on about some of the key points about your city, town, state, region, etc., and ensure that if there is any question from this area, you are there with at least some, if not all, points.